Have you ever had somebody tell you something about your relationship and you wanted to believe it so badly that you ignored everything your own gut was trying to tell you? Because that's exactly what happened to me. And it involved my ex-husband back when he was my boyfriend. We'd been together for about 2 years and our son was only 3 months old. We went away for my best friend's wedding. I was in the bridal party. And it was one of those weddings that was beautiful. It was 4 hours away and it lasted all day, probably like 11 hours. Meanwhile, I was 3 months postpartum. Every hour and a half, I was sneaking into the bathroom in my bridesmaid's dress to pump because my son was at home. By the end of the night, I got my first postpartum female situation too in the hotel room. I hadn't packed a single thing because I wasn't expecting it. I was straight up exhausted. And meanwhile, my boyfriend was absolutely goddamn hammered. I'm talking double fisting Jack and Cokes all damn day. Then I watched him openly flirt with the bartender right in front of my goddamn face. Imagine. Now, I was so angry. I walked over furious, and this man had the audacity to look at me and say, "Don't worry, baby, I'm still going home with you." Y'all, I'll never forget those words. Not just because they kind of hurt at the time. I was more stunned. But looking back, that was the first time I got a really clear look at a side of him I wasn't ready to accept. It was the first time my intuition whispered, "Pay the fuck attention." I just wasn't ready to listen. I was so angry that by the end of the night, I seriously considered leaving his drunk ass at that wedding and letting him figure out how to get home by his damn self. Well, the next morning, he was sick as a dog and he reeked of booze. And so was my sister's ex-boyfriend because he wasn't as innocent either. But here's the difference. My sister's ex-boyfriend apologized profusely. My boyfriend barely looked me in the eye and had an attitude the rest of the day. So when we finally got home, I was standing there holding our 3-month-old son. I asked him more than once, at first calmly, and probably not so much after that, but I said, "Do you have anything to say to me? Anything? An apology, an explanation, some acknowledgement that he had taken a weekend that was supposed to celebrate love and turned it into a complete disaster." Instead, all he could say was, "I don't know what to say to you," while he sat his ass on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. And looking back, I think that's the moment everything changed. Not just for me, but for us. It wasn't because he got drunk, because I'd seen that a million times afterwards. And it's not because he flirted with another woman, because that was a nice little pattern of his, but because I was standing there giving him every opportunity to take responsibility, and he chose not to. I didn't know it then, but I was looking at the beginning of the end. The first crack in a relationship that would eventually break wide open. And sometimes I do wonder, if I had trusted what my gut was screaming that day, instead of hoping things would get better, would my children and I have been spared years of heartbreak? Of course, I'll never know. But then something happened that confused me for years. And obviously, because I still think about it, still talk about it. One day he was out with my sister's ex-boyfriend after the wedding. And afterward, he said something to me that honestly stopped me in my tracks. He looked at me and said, "You don't understand how much he loves the shit out of you." And I just remember sitting there thinking, "Are you serious? Really?" Because I didn't know he even talked about me like that. He wasn't someone who shared his emotions with other people. As a matter of fact, he was amazing with other people, and at home, not so much. So anytime someone told me how much he loved me, I was genuinely surprised. And for a long time, I truly held on to that because I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe that the man everyone else seemed to hear about was the same man I was living with. I kept trying to force two completely different versions of the same person to make sense. One version told people how much he loved me. The other was the man whose actions I had to live with. And eventually I realized something. You know, the version you have to live with is the only version that freaking matters. The older I get, the more I realize this. Sometimes the biggest trap isn't what someone does. It's the hope we have to cling to because we desperately want their words to be true. So if you're in a relationship where you're constantly trying to convince yourself that they love you because of what they say or because of what other people tell you they say, don't ask yourself at all, do they love me? Ask yourself, do I feel loved when I'm with them? Because those are two very different things.